Another problem we have is we're not sure it's true. When we have the thought, I am Haruka, there's a little demon that dwells within us that goes, you, Haruka, give me a break. That's not true. Anyway, you're just imagining it. It's not valid. You're not Haruka. You, that. If we're not yet actually Buddha Haruka, how can we believe that we are? So in the meditation, where we've done our very best through the power of our Guru dissolving into us, we have some experience of great bliss and emptiness appearing to our mind. We're perceiving only emptiness, the absence of all things that we normally see. We're meditating on the emptiness of all phenomena through our Guru's blessings and our own understanding and experience. And from that emptiness we arise as Haruka. If we're not actually Buddha Haruka, how can such a practitioner believe that they are? Is this not a mistaken view? So how kind of Geshe. He states our objections, our doubts, and then he gives us the wisdom to overcome them. Although these practitioners are not actually Buddha Haruka, nevertheless they can believe that they are, because they've changed their basis of imputation from their contaminated aggregates to the uncontaminated aggregates of Haruka. Their view that believes they are Buddha Haruka is not a mistaken view. Why? Because it is non-deceptive and arises from the wisdom realizing the inherently existent I and mine do not exist. We believe this more than self-generation as Buddha Haruka. This is not true. And in that meditation, what we're meditating on is true. So we have a lot of work to do in improving our understanding and our wisdom. The mind thinking, I am Buddha Haruka, this realization of divine pride, that mind is not mistaken. It's a valid mind, non-deceptive, because it's coming from the wisdom realizing the I that we normally see, the inherently existent I, does not exist. I find this sentence very inspiring. It's about changing our basis of imputation. We need to change our basis of imputation, because for as long as our basis of imputation is impure, we'll experience suffering. And Geshe explains that our basis of imputation is changing all the time. You know, it's quite funny what we do. Like, you can show somebody that you've just met and whose company you're enjoying, look, there's me as a baby. That's quite funny, don't you think? I mean, which bit of that's you? The me that was the baby is completely gone. There's me as a baby. So we've lots of funny expressions. So our basis of imputation has changed in every life, and it's changing in this life. You know, you look at the aggregates you're imputing yourself on now, and you think, where did my thin, firm aggregates go. But they also were the nature of suffering. So our aggregates are changing. And when, for example, someone gets ordained, I remember this very clearly. I went into that ceremony with a little tuft. You know, that's how people can tell you're about to get ordained. You're dressed up as a monk or a nun. That's what it feels like. You're dressed up as a monk or a nun. And everything's very stiff because it's brand new. And you have a little tuft and you walk into the ceremony not knowing who you are. Because you're not your previous person. Because they wouldn't dress like this. And they wouldn't have a tuft. And they'd have a lot more hair. So you're not that person. And you walk in to the Gompa, the meditation room, and you've no idea. You're like, I don't know who I am. You're like, who am I? I can remember in the ceremony thinking, I can't wait to find out who I am. And then the names go round, and you get handed a name, and I looked at it, and I went, oh, I'm Dekyong. This is honestly the truth. I went, I am Dekyong. Now I know who I am. I'm Dekyong. And it took me a few weeks after that to make my previous person completely disappear. And just think, I am Dekyong, I am Dekyong, I am Dekyong, I am Dekyong, like that. With Dekyong's aggregates, the aggregates of a monk, of a nun. I don't know. The aggregates of a nun. And I think that's such a good example. That's why Geshe gives it as an example in this paragraph. It's just the basis of imputation when you change your aggregates to different aggregates. You know, the mind of an ordained person has made certain promises, therefore they're not the same aggregates as before. And anyway, our aggregates are changing moment by moment by moment by moment. So Geshe says, when we grow old, our basis of imputation will be an old person's body and mind, changing, changing, changing. But we have all these countless bases of imputation that Geshe lists here are contaminated aggregates. We have never changed our basis of imputation from contaminated to uncontaminated aggregates, the nature of wisdom. Contaminated aggregates are the nature of, they're coming from ignorance and they are the nature of suffering. Uncontaminated aggregates come from wisdom. Therefore, they give rise to great bliss. So the sentence, we have never changed our basis of imputation from contaminated to uncontaminated aggregates. Only through relying upon Buddha's tantric teachings can we accomplish this. We've never known how to do it before. We're going to lift our I, because I is just a name. Like my example in the ordination ceremony, who am I? Then a name comes, and you're like, I am Dekyong. So in the same way, we just have an I. The name I. What we label I determines who we are. A tantric deity or a deluded ordinary being who continuously experiences suffering. So in this practice, our label I is imputed. I is imputed on the pure aggregates coming from correct imagination of wisdom, the wisdom of believing. And we think I am Haruka, independence upon a pure body and mind. Geshe says, we continually familiarize ourselves on the meditation on divine pride and clear appearance. What was simply imagination becomes actuality. We don't understand how imagined things, through the power of familiarity, become reality, but they do. Through the power of meditating on clear appearance and divine pride, we will become Haruka in reality, in actuality, appearing first to our mental awareness and then our sense awarenesses in reality. We experience the pure mind and body of the deity. We actually experience them, as opposed to imagine we're experiencing them. This is the special way of changing our basis of imputation through the practice of the spiritual path. So that line is from Heart Jewel book. This is the special way of changing our basis of imputation, which is changing anyway through karma and conditions along the painful paths of samsara. Understanding how things exist, we now have a choice. We choose to impute our I upon a pure basis of imputation through the kindness of highest Yoga Tantra and the holy object, emptiness. This is the special way of changing our basis of imputation of our I through practicing the spiritual path. Isn't that amazing? I would say, following Geshe's view in this book, everybody everywhere needs to know how to change the basis of imputation for their I through changing it according to the spiritual path, wisdom, instead of that basis just appearing through karmic causes and conditions, the very mechanism of samsara by which our suffering can never cease.